He never imagined that one single decision on a rainy night would change his life forever. A war veteran, a single dad struggling to raise his little daughter alone, found himself in a storm of fate when he rescued a baby abandoned in a torn blanket at the edge of an alley. The cries pierced through the sound of the pouring rain, and without thinking twice, he scooped the tiny child into his arms. What he didn't know was that this baby wasn't ordinary. She was a genius beyond her age, a child with powers no one could fully understand, and hidden behind her little fists was a secret that could shake the world. She was the daughter of one of the most powerful CEOs in the country. The days that followed were not easy. As a single dad, his own daughter needed love, care, and stability. Money was tight, the wounds of his past still lingered, and the world rarely showed kindness to a man carrying so many burdens. Yet he couldn't leave the baby to fate. He named her Hope. With sleepless nights of feeding, with hours of juggling odd jobs, he raised her as if she was his own. His little girl bonded with the baby instantly, treating her like a sister, and the three of them became a small, unshakable family. But strange things began to happen. Light bulbs flickered when the baby cried. Objects floated when she reached out her hands. At first, he thought it was exhaustion playing tricks on his eyes, until one day he saw her lift a heavy chair without even touching it. Fear gripped him, but love was stronger. He didn't understand her powers, but he understood that she needed protection. More than anything, she needed a father who wouldn't abandon her again. Years passed, and the baby grew into a bright, remarkable child. She could solve puzzles in seconds, read books far beyond her age, and even calm storms with a whisper. Neighbors began to notice, whispers spread, but he shielded her from questions. He taught her humility, kindness, and courage, knowing the world outside would not always be safe. But destiny has a way of revealing secrets, and soon, their quiet life collided with forces too big to ignore. One evening, while at a school science fair, the CEO herself arrived as a guest judge. The moment her eyes landed on the child, something in her froze. Her heart trembled as she saw the little girl's features, the same eyes she thought she had lost years ago. That night, the truth was uncovered. Hope was her daughter, stolen from her during a bitter corporate rivalry, abandoned in a desperate attempt to erase her from existence. The CEO broke down in tears, unable to believe her child had survived, and that a humble single dad had been the one to give her the love she had been denied. But the story didn't end there. Corporate enemies who once tried to destroy the CEO's family discovered the child was alive, and her powers were even stronger now. They wanted to exploit her gifts, to use her as a weapon. The single dad stood between them and his daughters, refusing to let anyone tear apart what he had built with his sacrifice. With the skills he learned as a veteran and the unshakable courage of a father, he fought back, protecting both girls with everything he had. In the end, it wasn't just his strength that won, it was the love of a family. The CEO, once hardened by her empire, realized that all her wealth could never compare to the selfless love of a man who raised her daughter as his own. Together, they forged something greater than power or money, a family where no one would ever feel abandoned again. The little girl, now cherished by both her real mother and the man who saved her, grew up knowing that her gifts were not meant for fear, but for hope. The single dad's journey of pain, sacrifice, and courage became a message to the world that family isn't built by blood alone, but by the love that refuses to give up, even in the darkest nights. If this story touched your heart, imagine how many others it can inspire. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel, because stories like this remind us that miracles exist, not always in the form of powers, but in the strength of love, sacrifice, and second chances. Sometimes the greatest heroes are not the ones in uniforms or capes, but the ones who quietly choose to love when it's hardest.